Hello, my name is Magruder Murray. I'm the webmaster for Black Artists of DC. Some of our patrons have asked when BADC will start to do studio tours. I thought that during this time of isolation, I would experiment with a virtual studio tour. I'm going to use a video tour which will allow our community to watch when they can. If after seeing the video you want to ask questions, just email me at mmart@magrudermurrayart.com or call me. When you finish watching the tour, give me your comments on the tour so that I can relay these comments to my fellow BADC members so that they can make their tours better for you. Welcome to my studio. My studio was a one-car garage, and as you can see, it's been converted into a studio. The big picture window that you see was originally stucco. My contractor's wife told him to get rid of this picture window in her backyard, so I got it at a very reduced price. Had window on either side. You can see the window on the west side right now. But I had to replace all the windows because the windows were rotting out. And so that when he started the construction, it was a surprise to me by my wife. I came home one day and they were fixing up my garage as a studio. The window on the east side was replaced by a door so I can get in. I had to put the bars on the door to keep people out. When it was a garage, they had broken into it several times, so I knew I needed extra security. As we enter the garage, I will tell you that people call me a hoarder, but I'm not a hoarder. I'm a repurposer. So everything in my studio has been repurposed or built by me. And the first example is, as you can see, I have a light table here. When I was in high school, my father gave me a drafting table because I was studying architecture at Howard. So he gave me a drafting table so I could do my homework at home. And I used that through college as I studied architecture in college. And it finally started to fall apart. So I converted it into a light table. I found a metal box and screwed that underneath. I cut out the part where the glass is, put a support in the middle, add a piece of plastic, frosted plastic, put it in, and a piece of glass from the glass shop around the corner from me, and use that as the glass for the table. It has a straight edge on it, but I only use that when I'm cutting mats, so I really need a new one, but that's another project. And the next thing I decided to do in here was to make a drafting table. I mean, not a drafting table, I'm sorry, but a workbench. And this is my workbench. And it's got a flat surface on it. Again, my contractor's wife was begging him to get rid of some of his stuff in the backyard, so he had a box of oak floor left, and that's what I made the top of this workbench out of. It's MDF underneath, oak floor on top. It's very stable. I decided to build it instead of buy it because the floor in the studio is not level. It slopes from the north side to the south side, and from both sides, both east and west sides, into the middle. So all the four legs on there are different. Also, all the benches are the same height, and I wanted mine a little higher because I'm a little bit taller than the average person. Not much, but it's much more comfortable for me this way. And as you can see, I keep my tools in there. I have my miter saw over there that you can see, but in the drawers, I have hand saws, I have circular saws, sanders, drills, you name it, I've got it. So that's how I repurposed it. The next thing that I repurposed was my kitchen cabinets. We redid the kitchen, and so before the contractors could come in and destroy them, I took them down and I put them up in my studio, as you can see. And even the granite countertops I put in, which gives me a nice flat surface and to do much of my work. And I keep all kinds of materials in there. In these drawers on the bottom, I have my small artwork, my smaller papers that I use to draw on, my smaller matting material, and various other items. This is another item that I repurposed. It was a radio cabinet, and it was in my mother-in-law's attic, which was hard to get down. But when we did get it down, first I put my stereo equipment in it, because the stereo equipment that I had in there was used tubes and stuff like that, and very old. They had speakers on either side. I took those out, put my own speakers in, etc., etc. But finally I decided to take all those components out and put them in an entertainment unit I have in my family room. So I repurposed this so that I could put my art supplies in there. And as you can see, I put drawers in here, and they hold my mat cutters, tapes, framing material, all kinds of glosses in there. On the other side, I built in trays. As you can see, I have a ton of trays, and they hold my straight edges, everything else. This is my computer from college. It's a slide rule that I keep just so I can show my grandkids what kind of computer we use. We got pencils, pens, charcoal, all sorts of stuff in there. In this side, I hold my tall solvents, spray mint, glue, glosses, gesso, all kinds of stuff in here. Now I got two drawers, one up top and one below. And in the other drawers I have art books and small artwork. As you can see up top, I have my tools that I use when I do my artwork, all different kinds of pens and miscellaneous materials. My favorite eraser that I have. Over here I have an iPod. It is the first iPod they ever made. It still works, and these are the speakers that I put it in, and I play my own music when I'm working. And one of the things I had the contractors do when they built this was to put blue jean insulation in the walls and the ceiling, so that I could, for three reasons. One, it's recycled, so it helps the environment. Two, it's really good with insulating against cold and heat. And three, it insulates against sound, so that you can be standing next to my studio and not hear what's going on inside, because I have a lot of materials and tools that make a lot of noise, plus my music. The next thing that I did was, this was in my kitchen, and I had refinished it and made it look real nice, but when we redid the kitchen, we didn't use it, so I use it when I do easel work. And there's my easel in the corner. I put my easel in the middle, and then I can roll this out and put my paints and drawing materials and stuff on that cart and move it over. And the last thing I got was, excuse me for a minute, was my flat files that a friend of mine was throwing away. I went and got them, put them in, and just got those a couple of months ago. And I had to, it was only one set of 5 drawers, so I had to put something on top because I wanted a level surface. So I took some more of the oak wood I had and some cherry wood I had left over and built a top, and underneath it I stored some of my tools. This is my scroll saw and my table saw, and I also built this rack up here to hold big stuff. Up here I have my wood that I use for carving, frames that I use to frame for shows, easels that I use when I go to places where I need to put my work on easels. My big canvases, hardboards and stuff are all up there. And over here I've hung up some of my miniatures. I used to show at the Strathmore at the National Miniature Show every year. I don't do it every year anymore, but I sold quite a few at that show, so I keep them in here. One of the things that I've started to do is to do woodblock cuts. Let's see where they are here now. This is one of them, a woodblock cut. And so I'm going to show you some of the work that I do. This is one of my favorites, and it is it's called Metro Jazz. I do a series of jazz pictures, and this is one of the first ones that I did. This is in ink and colored pencil, and this is a print. I sell prints of this one. This is also a print. This was originally watercolor and ink. This was sold. This is another one that was color pencil and ink. It was sold. I have prints of that one that I sell. This is a wood block print. This is a linoleum block print. I had some floor tiles left over from doing my floor in the basement, and I brought them out here, and I was going to throw them away, but I decided to try to do some linoleum cut prints, and this is one of the ones, and this is a mask series I'm doing. So the mask is juxtaposed to the faces, and this one is called Mudman. And I have a couple of more like that. This one is called Tootsie. It's also a wood linoleum cut print. And this is the linoleum cut of another one that I did, which is just about sold out. I don't have that one out here right now. But as you can see, it's just a linoleum floor tile. And I carve it out. It's only about 1/8 of an inch thick. I carve it out and I make a print of it. And that's my linoleum cut print. This is a what I call a reduction wood print. And what you do is you put in the background and you carve out for your next color. And you print that. Then you carve out for the next color and you print that. And you keep going till you get all your colors down. And by the time you're finished, you don't have anything left of the block. So what you have to do is when you do the first cut, you have to make as many prints as you possibly can. I made 6 of these, so I have 3 left. The other 3 are gone. And this is some of my work, and I'll see if I can back up far enough for you to see it. This is my dabbling in abstract art. This is acrylic, fabric, and found objects on a wood board. And I'll also do a series of, ooh, that's heavy. I'll also do a series of music. This is one called Tune Up, and it's acrylic, ink, foam core like you get when you pack packages, and found objects. I have old LPs that I had that were warped, so I put those on there as part of the artwork. And so I made an art piece out of that, and it was not easy to frame, but I was able to frame it. Okay, the next piece I have here is I call doo-wop, and that is color pencil and ink, and this is an original, and I still have that. And I do a series on music, and this is one of the ones that I do on the music. Let's see, the next one I think is also a music one. Now this one I wanted to show you because it doesn't show up well on photographs, because what it is color pencil, ink, pastel, magic marker, but the music is etched into the glass and mounted over top. And as you can see, it fits right into the music. And excuse the noise, that's my neighbors. It's a really nice piece, but again, it doesn't photograph well, as you can tell. And then this last piece I have is the last piece I've done, and that is, I call it Mother Blues. It's color pencil. I'm going to enter it in a colored pencil competition, and the only thing you can use in that competition is colored pencil, so I couldn't put any ink or any acrylic or anything else onto it. They're very strict about that. But that is that's my latest piece, and it's called Mother Blues, And there's a story behind her because my wife and I were walking on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, and we heard this music, and we walked in, and it was what looks like a dive, and the dive had concrete floors, steel beams in the top, and we walked in. We ordered drinks. We asked for a menu. They said, "Oh, we don't serve food." We asked for like snacks, nuts and stuff. They said, "Oh, we don't serve that." So we asked them what they served, and they said liquor. And they serve it to you in plastic cups. So that when you finished listening to the music and want to walk around, you can take the plastic cups with you and walk around. And that is New Orleans. So that was an experience. And so basically, this is my studio. As you can see, I've got all my ready-to-use tools on the pegboard in the background. And trying to think of everything that I have in here that you need to see, but this is basically it. I do my own framing for my shows, as you can see, and it's all over the place. And I have tools in these cabinets, hand tools. I've got a drill press. I've got all kinds of materials. Under here I have my acrylics, my oils, my mosaics. That's my mosaic toolbox. And so I do quite a few different things. I try to experiment with different things. And like these woodblock prints, I did these woodblock prints first, and then I took a class to find out how to do it. And my instructor said, well, you were doing it right. So I learned a little bit from Membo. I never knew what a reduction print was till I went there. And I also have some toolboxes here that I use when I go to class to transport my art materials to the toolbox. And as you can see, I use every bit of space that I have. That's my table router up there. I have another router down here for hand routing. And these are lights that I use when I'm working on my projects on the workbench. And as you can see, it lights it up pretty good. And on my light table, when I'm not using the light table itself, I have 3 lamps, and they have all different kinds of light bulbs in them, so I can simulate the outside. I'll turn on the light table so you can see what kind of light it gives out. I said I found a box to put under it to hold the lights, but I found 2 fluorescent lights with the fluorescent tubes in it, and I wired it and put in a switch and a plug to hold that. And this here is one of my prized possessions. My children gave me this one day for a present, and it's an eraser. And it does a great job erasing pencil and ink. And it's very sturdy. So that's about it that I have. As you can see, my wife likes to garden, and when she throws away her flower pots, I take them and repurpose them for my use. So this is it. If you have any questions, don't just contact me, call me, email me, and I will try to answer any questions that you have. Thank you for coming on this tour with me, and I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me in this first BADC studio tour. And if you wish to ask questions, just email me or call me. Thank you for participating.